Turn there with us. Hebrews 11, verse 1. Hope is an expectation. A wish is just a wish. You just throw it out there, but hope you expect to have something back in return. When you play the lottery, well, nobody here plays the lottery. When you play the lottery, I'll leave it out there, and I already jumped in the pool. I got to swim now. When you play the lottery, you are wishing. You are wishing. Because you have no control over what them balls going to do. That's a wish. That's a wish. Now, I hope if you win, you give something to the congregation. That's an expectation. You got Hebrews 11. Read. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. The evidence of things not seen. Now, here's what I want you to understand about this hope. Faith is the substance. Now, this word substance here, this means foundation. This means the substructure. This means what's underneath. This is at the root. This is the fundamental part of hope. You got to have faith. You got to put faith somewhere in order to have an expectation. Let me give you an example. My mother had an expectation of me to graduate from high school. And she believed that I was going to do it. But with that hope, with that belief, it also will cause something in our next point, and this is what hope does. It will cause you to take certain actions. So what did she do? She worked with me. She made sure that I went to class. She made sure that I was doing my homework. If I needed supplies, she took me to the store because the expectation was that I graduate from high school. So what did she do? She believed that if she did these things, if she believed in the fact that I could do it, but she had to do something else in order for me to graduate. She had to make sure I went to school every day. She wanted to put me in a good school environment. She wanted to make sure I had those supplies. She wanted to make sure I got there on time. All those things she contributed to her expectation. Now, see, if we're going to have hope is going to be our anti. That means that it's going to demonstrate some things that we do, or rather, it's going to regulate or design for us things to do. Does that make sense? It's going to guide us. We're going to do certain things if we have a certain hope, if we have a certain expectation. Go back to 1 John chapter 3. Go back to 1 John chapter 3, verse 3. Let me show you what's going on here. This is what hope does. Hope causes action. That expectation causes action. That's why it's different from a wish. This is what makes it different from a wish. Okay, we all hear about, every 4 years they talk about Olympic hopefuls. Okay, they never say Olympic wishfuls. Because nobody just wishes to be in the Olympics. They train. They run, they lift weights, they do different exercises. Why? Because they hope or expect that the results of their work, of their weightlifting, of their running, of all this training will put them in the Olympics. Now, what is your hope? What is your hope? I had a hope to get married one day. But see, I look at sometimes I think about looking at dating and whatnot, and I think about myself putting myself on the market when I was dating. I think about putting myself on the market, and you want to be quality product, right? You want to be quality product. We talked, Brother Calloway was talking this morning about how he was thankful for the name brand candy. See, I wanted to be name brand. I want to be name brand because everybody wants name brand. You know, you look good when you got on the name brand stuff. You know, people can look at it and say, that's not quality. And I didn't want the woman that I was dating and that I was potentially going to marry to be putting me in front of her family until they say that's not quality. So I had to do some things because if I had that expectation, I had to do some things. I wouldn't try to get myself educated. I wouldn't try to get myself employed. I tried to find somewhere to stay. I tried to put forth an example, talk about the goals I had for myself. Why? Because I wanted to be quality. I had an expectation. And I had a thought that if I put out quality, I should get back some quality. Amen. I got back some quality, y'all. Young men, put out some quality. You'll get back some quality. But see, if you don't have an expectation, it won't guide you to do anything. Without that expectation I had to have a good marriage, See, Ryan expects a good marriage. She expects us to stay married forever. So her and I, because I have that expectation as well, she and I do those things which would allow us to have that expectation, which would allow that expectation to come true. It causes action. 1 John 3:3, he says that in every man that hath this hope, in him purifieth himself. He does something. He purifies himself. Now remember, this is written to the church. So now am I saying that now when you're baptized, God purifies you. But because you got this ugly side of us called man and flesh, you're wrestling all the time. And sometimes you get dirty. And then sometimes you're tempted. Not sometimes, all the time you're tempted. And you have to remember, purifying yourself is making that decision to go where it's right and know where it's right and wrong and make the decision towards right. That's what he's talking about when he says purifying yourself. That's what you can do. You can make the decision. God's done his work. God did his work when you went down in the water and came back up. He purified you. Now it's your job to stay pure. It's just like if you wear all white. It's your job not to go to the barbecue shack for lunch. That's your job. You know how you like to eat ribs and brisket, and you don't want it. You don't want your white stuff messed up. It's your job. Now the job's been given back to you. Purify yourself. Mark chapter 5. Brother Hero, go to Mark chapter 5. Hold your finger at verse 25. Because we talk about this. I don't want this to only seem spiritual. This is real too. Hope is the anti. That word anti means opposing. It means opposite. It means against. Hope goes against that temptation. Hope goes against where you may want to go, where you know you shouldn't be. Hope goes against that because you have an expectation. When you have expectations, there's things you won't do. Remember the story about Megan. It says that if we give kids, if the youth have goals, have things they want to achieve, have a plan to achieve it, you don't let nothing deviate you from your plan. You don't let stuff deviate you from your plan. Okay, now I've made plans. I told Ryan before, I said, hey, look, I plan to do this and whatnot, and something happens and I want to change the plan. Ryan, or I want to do something else. Ryan said, that's not the plan. You're going against the plan. But see, when you go against, when you have a plan, you got something to go against. Hope gives you a plan. You got Mark chapter 5? You got verse 25? We'll start reading. We're going to read about the woman with the issue of blood. Read. Read.
She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had, yet instead of getting better, she grew worse.
Hold it right there. This woman has an issue of blood. Now you got to, in the context of what's going on, Jesus is getting ready to go to Jairus' house. One of the synagogue leaders, he's on his way to Jairus' house, and this woman, he's got all these people around him because of all the power and all the miracles he's performed. He got all these people just interested, and they want to know where he's going. They want to follow him. They want to see him do this next miracle. And you got this woman with an issue of blood, and she does. Read that. Go skip down to verse 27. This happens on the way. Now watch this. Jesus' intention is to go heal Jairus' daughter. But watch what happens on the way. Read verse 27. When she heard about Jesus, read. She came up behind. Now, in order for you to have the faith that is the foundation of hope, you got to hear. And she heard about Jesus. She heard about what Jesus had done and can do. And she came up behind him and she touched him. Now here's what I call the hope statement. Read verse 28. Because she thought what? If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. See, that's why I say it's the hope statement. That's her expectation. And why did she believe that? Because of what she had heard about Jesus. Because of what she had heard about Jesus. Skip down to verse 34. Skip down to verse 34. Now Jesus feels it.